WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. I'm used to my camera being over here or over here, and instead Damian O'Doherty's in here. We are at MACo. We're broadcasting for a couple of hours. We're going to be joined by Ben Cardin and Heather Mazier and some other cool people. But in the meantime,
a good list. You always have the best
well,
list.
see, I figured before I have anybody on, I'll have you on, and this will be the green rooming session for all the things you want to hear from Ben Cardin, all the things you want to hear from Heather Mazier. How are you, man? It's good to see you.
I'm doing great. It's a little jarring for me to come in to the convention hall. I'm one of these conventioneers that does not go into I never have a booth.
You got a booth right here.
Yeah, now we have a podcast booth called The Lobby. It's a very little lobby.
Yeah, I'll show everybody because I have the camera here to do
Look
this.
at that.
See that? Look, wave, Zach. There it is. Zach's waving over
producer.
there, right?
He's
Victoria's
got the hardest job in America.
Yeah, absolutely. Next year, Victoria, no mask for you. We'll see your beautiful smile, all right? Everybody's, I was a little worried that 6 feet and 6 months ago, this sort of thing was in jeopardy, right? Always. And we're functioning relatively normally here in Ocean City, are we not? I
mean, I took the video camera around. I turned it sideways because that's the way you got to do it for LinkedIn, they tell me.
Right, this way.
Yeah,
not like the kids are doing.
I just did, a shaky tracking shot of one of these hallways with all of these amazing vendors and elected officials. And people
what is this? How many years you been coming?
I've been coming since 1999 or 2000 probably.
And this has been going on for 40, 50 years that?
It
is a convention of the business of the state of Maryland, literally, right?
Yeah, and what that really means is that the counties, this is a big secret about Maryland governance, is that the counties run the state of Maryland. For all intents and purposes, whether it's the huge amounts of education funds that go to the local boards of education or your police, fire, roadways, that's all county stuff.
Vendors too?
So the people that serve that community of progress makers in the county, right? The people that want to make your water cleaner.
I love a guy that's been in politics. Progress makers.
That's what they are. They're not bureaucrats. But there
are people here doing a lot of work. I would say that.
Yeah. And very put together professional people from all sorts of things, whether you're in energy or, like we said, water, all the things that a county would use. You'll find people trying to show how their taxpayer dollars can be spent more efficiently, more wisely. The one who is the master of this you got to get on here is Melanie Miller, who is
she came looking for you. Melanie was over here. She's
like,
where's O'Doherty? It's 9 a.m. Let's go. I'm a busy woman. That's what she said.
I believe it.
And I said, if you're in touch with Damian, get him on my show. So I got you on before you even had a show here. How's life, man? I mean, you're in and out. You spent some time out in Colorado and you're back home, and I see you moving around. But there are a lot of things, I think, post-pandemic. Everybody was a little bit more not sure where we're going. I think certainly from where the state is headed, right? Wes Moore, he'll be joining me on the 30th at Costas on the Maryland Crab Cake Tour. I saw Larry Hogan on Wednesday night. What's going on with Democrats and Republicans is bubbling under in our state as a purple state, right? But also being in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, these other places, the election sits underneath of all of this, all across the country 8 weeks from now, right?
Yeah, one thing I'm heartened about is, there's the Maryland winners, and losers after the big primary election because Maryland's a 2-1 Democratic state and seems to be getting bigger proportions anyway in the blue direction. Despite all that, we have a Republican governor often, and so I come at this through this frame of Democrats who run statewide for office. They think the primary is the big win, and they treat the general election like an afterthought. And I just want to say I was heartened as an observer to see Wes Moore, Wes Moore's team, from everybody like me or all of us that were trying to be attention seekers and get on these winning lists. They were like, we ain't won nothing yet. We have not won a thing yet. And so for somebody who comes from that frame of watching, a Democratic governor state go Republican, it is a really heartening thing to see this Democratic Party coming together and saying we're not going to let that happen. Now, on the other side of the fence, you got a party that's in disarray, right? You got.
Oh, I just had Barry Glassman. He was the first one I saw here this morning.
Yeah. So what did he say?
He came through. I was just setting up. Well, he's going to come out and do the Crab Cake Tour. He walked away, and I like Barry a lot, and more than I like most Republicans. And he went by, and I said, as he left, I said to Jen, I said he probably knows he has no chance to win. No offense, and I'd say that to him because he has to fight against his own party. Larry's fighting against his own party.
That's
Kelly
right.
Schultz, I said to Mulder, we did a recon yesterday, I said, Larry would not win another election year because he wouldn't win his own primary. He would have had a lot of trouble winning a primary. He would have had to bring people out. I don't know that he really brought people out because if he brought people out, Kelly Schultz would have had a better showing, I would think.
Larry Hogan is very out of step with his own party. You know, it's tough.
So is Liz Cheney, apparently, right?
Can you imagine that?
In your part of the world.
That's right. And could you imagine if Martin O'Malley would have lost the Democratic primary for his own gubernatorial pick, like an Anthony Brown? If he lost in the primary, we would have been dead as ducks then. That's the feeling Larry Hogan's got to have now. I'll be honest with you. I saw Kelly Schultz last night at J.B. Jennings' event, and I just thought that took a great amount of courage and poise, and it shows why this community has so much care and respect for what she's done as a public servant.
Well, you have to come out if you don't win. You have to at some point you have to come out. I mean, you've dealt with a lot of people, winners and losers.
You're talking to a guy that fled town, man. What are you talking about?
Damian O'Doherty's here, KO. He's doing the lobby over here for Center. What's the lobby in Center? Give everybody what Center Maryland and the lobby
So Center
represent.
Maryland is a decade-old news aggregator because we saw the deterioration of local news long ago and thought the best thing we could do with low budgets and our own sort of spit and wax was just pull together all the state's news from around, all the publications, blogs, Twitter feeds, pull them all together in one place. And then we put some additional content in there, whether it's Baltimore positive. We give you, we like to think we give you a little boost when you were starting. Now you far eclipsed us. You far eclipsed us, but in the beginning, that's what we're there for, a little startup boost.
Your love is lifting me higher.
That's a pretty good voice.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, right.
You got it.
Damian O'Doherty lifting us. For you, concerns for the state, and I think your first concern as a Democrat is Westmore's got to win. I looked at Anthony Brown's booth over here, and Brooke Learman. I saw signs the whole way down. That's the charge of the politics of all of this, with Republicans having run the state for eight years, right? And Democrats being the majority. We're really a weird state. We don't feel that way on the inside, but when you go out and swim in 49 other circles, including Colorado where you base, we're a weird state.
Yeah.
Really weird.
Yeah, I wonder, Larry Hogan it seems like he has a higher favorability amongst Democrats in the state than Republicans. I wonder if he's going to try to harness that way. I can't help but think of Melanie Miller's dad, spent lifetimes trying to convert Republicans to Democrats. I wonder if there's any play there for Democrats and Larry Hogan. They talk about him running as an independent for president, but is there a way to capture his momentum and energy as a convert to the Democratic Party and the Biden agenda, which, let's be honest, is just kicking ass for America? And people will say, "Oh, Damian, you're just a political hack rooting for your party." But what the president did, and what Ron Klain, his chief of staff, who I was like, how is Ron Klain keeping his job? Let me tell you how Ron Klain is keeping his job. He just passed the most significant package of legislation that is going to immediately impact Americans than we've seen in a long, long time. And it's beyond the rescue dialogue. We're talking about doing real things in science, for example, and chip manufacturing. And that's just great to see America getting behind that. I'm pumped. And so I hope old Joe, I think he's got another term in him. I'm excited to see that happen.
See, I hear, the real hardcore Dem, and I'll play the middle of the running him again. I don't.
We know what we got, don't we?
Yeah, you got an older fellow. You know what I mean? Like, at this point, where's Gavin Newsom? Where's the next thing? You know,
I've done this before to no success, which is try a little of this generational warfare. Martin O'Malley against Hillary Clinton. It doesn't work. We have to look at our elders as wise people, and I think.
Well, Biden had no chance to win until South Carolina happened, right?
That's another great example of somebody who sat back like a wise person and said, "I'm going to get in right here," and you tied it up right there. It's amazing. So, I think he's more wily than anything else, and I hope the rest of the country starts catching on. I mean, I think they will as the progress around him. You've seen that with fuel prices going down. right? I mean, I think we all feel
Well, you just
that.
had an Inflation Reduction Act, right?
That's right.
Like, so the first thing is acknowledging there's inflation.
Yeah.
The previous regime wouldn't acknowledge a plague.
Yeah.
They were trying to Clorox a plague.
Dude, let me tell you my favorite
Trying
thing.
to bomb hurricanes.
My favorite thing, a big finance guy said, I mean, you're exactly right. You're right. Just couldn't do the simple stuff. Couldn't do the hard stuff.
There is no inflation. There is here's why and here's what we're going to do.
That's right. You go to war for 20 years in foreign lands. You know, you forget about the environment. All these chickens come home to roost.
Damian O'Doherty's roasting chickens on the Eastern Shore.
Hey, Royal Farms. Did you go to that party with John Pica? Speaking of chicken.
I did not go to the Royal Farms. But tell me about the Royal Farms. I was too busy.
John Pica, who is, a throwback Baltimore politico, former head of the Baltimore City Senate delegation, as sort of a star from the time of being a Mount St. Joe basketball player all the way to being a politician. Now he's a lobbyist. And he's just he's got all the best Baltimore attributes of Little Italy and getting things done for normal people. And he had a great event with Senator Van Hollen and the Royal Farms team.
I don't get invited to.
That's stunning.
I've stopped at 4 Royal Farms on the way down here. I got gas, chicken, coffee. I almost got a Krispy Kreme, but there was a little bit of a line.
I think you probably talk about Royal Farms more than the average bear.
Well, here's what I've learned, and I was in front of the MACo County delegation, as you can imagine, Jake Day, whose dad has an association with chicken, if you didn't know, right?
That's fair.
Fair enough. So I had Carl Atherton also from the other side of the aisle down, and I said to the guys, I'm like, every time I come down here, and I did this morning, you stop at the Queenstown Royal Farms right behind the outlets, right?
Yeah, right.
I get out, I pee, I get gas, chicken. It's Royal Farms, right off the road. I said, why does a chicken taste better on the Eastern Shore? And they looked at me like, it's like asking why snowballs taste better in Baltimore. It's because we make them here.
Gatins.
You know, it's a poultry area here. So I said that's why the chicken tastes better on the Eastern Shore.
The chicken boys ain't so bad. You know, they get a hard knock, but they are an integral part of this economy out here.
No doubt. All of it is. What a beautiful state driving around this crab cake tour.
It is a beautiful state. You know, it's the first time I've been in this building. It's a little weird. Like I said, I've been coming to this conference for 20 years, but I never come into this amazing
You thought the conference was in the bars?
I did, and the golf courses and the bars. But I tell you, one of the reasons is I just had a little flashback. Last time I was in this building was 9/11. The morning of 9/11, I was here for the Realtors Conference. I was a lobbyist for the Realtors. And we were out there watching the planes go in. And when I just walked in, there.
Ooh, you had
I
trauma.
was like, man,
okay.
I was like, yeah, it was just a little bit of a shock. I don't mean to be a bummer, but it was a momentous place to be for sure.
I was here last year. I think the only other thing I saw here was like a concert about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what band it was. Was it Joan Jett? Maybe. It was something like that.
We got the mayor of Ocean City coming on.
I had him last year. Yeah, absolutely. Baltimore. You know, everybody on the shore has a Baltimore story or a Baltimore route.
Yeah.
You know, I went to Suicide Bridge for a crab cake, which is you ever been to Suicide Bridge for?
No.
Well, detour on the way home. Just make a right on 16 right before you get to Cambridge, and just go out around East and the Northway if you're going back across the bridge. Great crab cake, but it's off the beaten path. You go to the Confederate flag and you make a left at the Trump and the F. Biden, and then you're there, and you're right there. There's like water.
So that's Maryland.
That's it. Yeah. So, but I was over there the other day, and the young lady that waited on me said, "Oh, hon, you're from Baltimore. You called me hon." I said, "Did I say hon?" She said, "Maybe you did it subconsciously." I said, "I don't call people. Do I call people hon? Catch me next time." Yeah, I said, maybe an older woman I would. But so I don't think I called her hon, but she came over. She said, "Yeah, I'm from Baltimore." I said, I moved over here. She said, "I haven't been across the bridge in 10 years.
Really?
And she was really proud of it. She said, "I got 40 acres now. You know, we don't get the internet over here." And I'm thinking, oh, but you still vote. You know, maybe, you know. Last year on the crab cake tour, I went down to Southern Maryland. I went all the way to the bottom to this restaurant down at a place called Courtney's. It's in a little town. I can't even remember the name of the town. It's in one of the fingers. And I went down. They had a giant CNN sucks thing on the front and Anderson Cooper's face with a Ghostbuster, right?
Wow.
Yeah, right. CNN sucks. I couldn't get the internet.
Wow.
Like, I don't think they could get CNN. That's my point.
Wow.
My point is the dogma in places where they don't really – all they have is cable TV, and all they have is Fox News, and they don't even really have dial-up in a lot of places.
That's the approach.
The broadband issue, it's an educational issue. It's an information issue to me.
That's right. Access, so everybody's playing off the same cards. You know, you got to have empathy for people on the other side of the political spectrum, because if you think about them, they're just like us. So they're looking down at their phone, 8 or 16 hours a day, depending on who you are, and they're seeing their feed that's been curated for them. And then if you're on a community like the Eastern Shore,
they don't even have that.
Yeah, well, that's what you're saying. And I'm saying if you take it beyond it, they have that. And then they look up from their phone or their TV. They have a community of people around them that's been self-segregated to be around conservatives or Republicans or rural people. And so everywhere these folks are going, their messages are reinforcing one another. So the question for Democrats is, how do you level the playing field with your information when those people are ensconced in that environment? And the only answer, whether you asked Liz Smith, the famous political consultant.
I saw you were hanging out with
we
her.
Just had it's like you got to go out to them, and you got to get beat up, and you got to go and talk to those people. And
that's really interesting, because she and I were out in past Cumberland, above Deep Creek Lake, and we went into not a Royal Farms, I might say, because we had to pee, and we're out on the side of the road, and there's a gas station. We went into just like a gas station. Everyone in there was wearing an NRA shirt or hat. Every shirt, everything they had a gun on it. I'm not literally.
Right.
And then I went to the back. Everything they sold in there had a gun, an eagle, a flag on it.
Right.
They had F. Biden signs in the front. Right. They had the branded. They had all of this
culture,
truly anti-American propaganda. Like literally, not pro-Republican or even pro-Trump.
Yeah, but
just more.
But if you went, of all people, if you went and talked to those people, they'd light you up. You would, if you also wouldn't talk to them like you just talked to me about them. You would be yourself, which is welcoming, ingratiating.
No, I would just say, why do you believe this? What is the basis?
Yeah.
Tucker told me.
They would respect you for being in there and giving them the business about it. And that's what you got to do. You got to at least start there, because then they're like, at least Nestor came
They
down.
got guns.
Well, I mean, you're living in America.
Well, they seem
that's like saying,
really,
we got oxygen. I mean, I'm sad.
Really wanting to use their guns. You know what I mean? That's the part that really weirds me out. Like, I'm not talking to that old coot over there with the NRA hat on.
But it's like going to another country.
It feels like he wants to shoot me.
I'm just saying, it's like going to another country and talking to those people. You might find out that's not really why they hold the guns. They hold the guns for some other reason.
Because they think I'm coming to take it somehow, and I'm not.
Yeah. It's
Friday
morning. I'm trying to, be as gracious as possible. Here's your senior United States Senator.
We got a break. Ben Cardin's here. All right. See you later, bud. Thanks. Damian O'Doherty, KO. We're back for more on Baltimore Positive. We got the Senator next. Stay with us.